As salespeople, we need to be effective at making cold calls in order to put food on the table. And believe me, if you're a new rep, making cold calls can be difficult. It can be scary. Facing rejection is difficult. And I remember when I first started, I had a tough time, and I wish I had a video like this to share with me exactly what I need to know in order to set more meetings and become more successful in my sales job, making cold calls sooner rather than later. I've made over 38,000 cold calls in the last 2 years. I've gotten really good at it. I've faced a lot of rejection. I've set a lot of meetings. And in this video, I'm gonna share with you 3 things you need to know in order to become more effective at cold calls. And I'm gonna share with you my exact cold calling script I use in my software sales job. Before we get into that, make sure to smash the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel because it really helps. And I make daily sales videos. This is day 63 in a row of new content to help you become more successful in your sales job. The 3-step methodology that you need to know, first and foremost, is being able to succinctly, quickly, and easily convey your company value proposition. You need to know who is your buyer persona, who has your money, who are you gonna call, and how are you gonna convey to them how you can help. Number 2 is being able to identify your customer or prospect's immediate needs, challenges, problems, or pains. It's very hard to do this on a cold call, so I'm gonna give you a couple things to think about in order to do that. Number 3 is asking open-ended and leading questions in order to get more insight into number 2 and understand how can you understand what are they struggling with, and then how can you convey your solution as a way to fix their pain or their problem or help them become more successful. That is how you will begin to set more meetings and have more success with cold callings. And just know that I've made a lot of cold calls. I've set a lot of meetings. I've generated over $12 million in pipeline, leading to $1 million in closed revenue off pure cold calls. But just today, I was making a cold call. I thought it was going well. I was speaking with a VP, and he said, look, you failed at Sales 101. You didn't even tell me what your company did. So just know that I still fail today. I still make mistakes. Not every call is going to be perfect, but it's that mindset of what you will hunt, what you kill. Whatever you kill is what you will eat. And I love that because being good at cold calling is becoming a true hunter. And that is a skill set, that is mentality. So when you sit down to make cold calls, have that survival mentality. Realize that whatever you hunt, whatever you kill is what you will eat. Whatever meetings you set is what you will benefit from. So the more meetings you set, the more you benefit. So number 1 is being able to quickly, easily, succinctly, and concisely convey your company value proposition. This is really important and what a lot of reps struggle with. A lot of reps are focused on what are the first 10 seconds of a cold call? How do I nail it? Do I say, how are you? Do I say, can you give me 27 seconds to tell me whatever? A lot of people, is now a bad time, is now a good time? Don't worry about any of that, guys. I've made 38,000 cold calls and you will have plenty of success. Just, you're talking to another human on the end of the line. You don't need to overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it. They know what it is, but psychologically, we as humans need to understand why are we having this conversation and what is happening, why are we here? So in the first couple seconds, hey, Susan, this is Trent from Qualtrics. How are you? I'm doing okay. Perfect. The reason I'm calling you this morning, Susan, is you need to work in the phrase, the reason I'm calling you is. And as soon as you convey the reason I'm calling you is, you need to be able to convey your company's value prop. That is number 1. What does your company do? How can you help them? I typically start, I advance it, and I try and reverse engineer it. And I always say, this is what I always say. Hey, Susan, the reason I'm calling you is I'm following up on a recent email I had sent you. Does the name XXX ring a bell? I always send an email before I'm calling because I want to give them an idea, my name. I want them to see Trent Dressel appeared in your inbox. I want them to see my company name, Qualtrics, and I want them to get some basic high-level information on how my company can help them. If the name rings a bell, then great. Immediately I've warmed up the conversation and then we'll get into how we can help. If not, that's when I need to get into asking a leading question. Now, I'm skipping steps here, and the more you do it, you'll start to master it. But then I say, based on your understanding of what your value prop is, reverse engineer it. My value prop is helping organizations improve their employee experiences. So I say, yeah, Susan, I noticed you oversee the HR vision and strategy over there at Tesla. I know you're probably working directly with Elon. I don't actually say that, but I say, look, does employee engagement or employee feedback collection, Is that a priority for you and the team in 2021? If I can identify how I can help them as a loose priority by also insinuating if a question that is almost so absurd that they have to say yes, most likely I get, well, of course it is. Then I'm like, perfect. That's when I go right into then I go back to step number 1. What does my company actually do? Well, hey, my company, Qualtrics, experience management company, we help you better collect employee feedback at all the moments that matter to help you drive the business outcomes such as lowering attrition, improving productivity, improving employee engagement. Focus on the outcomes. If you can convey how you will help that person reach their goals are aligning to a business's objectives. So you need to be mindful of what level is this person on? What do they care about? How do their goals play into their department goals? And then how do those department goals roll up to the overall company initiatives? And you need to convey how you will help them drive legitimate business outcome from a company initiative standpoint. That's what's important, and that's how you're going to justify spend. That's how you're going to pique their interest and get them to take a call. So synthesize all of that into a clear 30-second high-level value proposition of how you can help. Number 2 is identifying the problems, the pains the customer is having. So it's hard to do this discovery on a cold call. I typically am not great at this, but I think a part of this is if you make an ask. So first off, if you do not ask, you will not receive. So if you make an ask, if they answer the phone and say, hey, do you want to set up a meeting with me? They're most likely going to push back and say, well, no, what is it about? Why is it about? That's a challenge, and you need to understand what their challenge is. What about this doesn't work for you? Understand why aren't they taking the meeting? So when you say, hey, we can help you with X, Y, Z, do you have any availability next week to chat more? They're going to say, well, we don't have budget. Okay, just so I understand, it sounds like you have no budget. Are you under an existing contract? Or play it like, hey, we're not looking to sell anything. We just want to have an introductory conversation. When you make your ask, they're going to give you a challenge as to why it doesn't work. So you need to get really good at understanding the objections that you commonly face. Now's not the right time. I'm not the right person. I don't have any budget. This isn't a priority. Hey, reach out in a couple months. Understand your common objections and write them down, and write down how you would actually respond. Because if you can't write down how you would respond, you're going to have no chance responding on the actual phone. Ask your colleagues how they would respond, and that will help you get very quick and concise at replying to these objections. But as a follow-up to point number 2, try and figure out what are your customers' legitimate pains in their role. Is their existing process super manual and it takes them a lot of time? Dive into that, because if their pain is big enough, that is how you justify a cost, because they will want to solve that to make them more effective, to help them reach their organizational goals. Number 3, asking leading questions. You only get so many questions on a cold call. So the way I structured, I want to get into it quickly. The very first thing I say, how are you? Question number 1. Hey, the reason I'm calling you is I'm following up on a recent email I sent you. Does my name or my company ring a bell? Question number 2. At this point, we've already asked 2 questions and we've given pretty much no value. And then we're in it, and then we say, okay, well, hey, is XYZ a priority for your groups this year? That's number 3. We've already asked 3 questions and given no value. As soon as we ask that third question, that open-ended leading question, we need to get into the value. That's where point number 2 comes in, convey your company value prop. And then the last question is really going to be any discovery questions. How does your process work? What about this is going well? What about this is not going well? What would you change? Why is this important? And then when can we set up a conversation to talk further? You always need to make your ask. That is the third and final question. And that's point number 4 or 3A, however you want to think about it, is do these 3 steps, but make your ask. If you do not make your ask, you will not set up calls. So make sure you're making your ask, even if your call isn't going well. Have confidence with it. Eat what you kill or hunt what you kill. I forget the saying, but I heard someone talking about it today and I really liked it. But just adopt this mentality of it's up to you. It's up to you to find the people. It's up to you to call the people. And it's up to you to get the people to agree to your meeting. That's what it takes. That's how you'll become more successful making cold calls and setting more meetings. If you guys enjoyed this content today, if you learned something new, or if you just liked listening to me speak and you're still with me, make sure to smash the like button, subscribe to this channel, and leave me a comment below. Let me know how I can help you. Let me know what you're thinking about this video. Let me know what tips you have, and take this into action. Immediately go make cold calls. After this video is coming out midday on a Wednesday. Listen to this video and go make your cold calls. If you listen to this in the evening, still go make some cold calls. Whatever it takes, just go make cold calls and let me know how I can help, guys. Good luck. See you in the next video. Bye.